Fall asleep now. A wise person once said, "Never in the history of calming down has anyone actually calmed down." So why do we expect our brain to just shut down when we go to sleep? We roll into bed at the end of a busy day, whether it's at work or school or out and about, fluff the pillow, close our eyes, and demand that the thinking mind is silent for the next 8 hours. But the brain has been highly alert and reactive for the previous 16 hours and is preparing to do so for the next 16 hours. So cut a little slack, huh? Like many things in life, the more we resist something, the harder it pushes back. Resisting the monkey mind can just lead to frustration and agitation. Trying to clear your mind is nearly impossible, and simply willing yourself to sleep is often a fruitless effort. Instead, let's look at some simple ways that we can improve our much needed slumber. Part 1. Unprocessed data is like unfinished business. How much time do you give yourself in your day just to think? We are receiving data and stimuli from the moment that we wake up in the morning to the moment we go to sleep again. And therein lies a clue as to what's keeping you up at night. The brain is constantly receiving input from your day, so it needs time and space to digest that information. And if the only time you're ever quiet and still is when you're in bed, then that's the time that your brain is going to try to process thoughts and emotions. Or worse, you might be adding to an accumulation of thoughts and emotions from days or even weeks. Do you find yourself filling your waking hours with busyness? Filling in your downtime and in-between times with social media and TV shows and podcasts and music and cat videos and clickbait articles and so on. Whether your mind is anxious with worry or stimulated with excitement or calculating and problem solving, all of that can lead to difficulties in trying to fall asleep. Create clarity by being in the moment. So how often do you just take in your surroundings? Ride your bike or your scooter without your earphones in? Eat a meal without doing 12 other things at the same time? Sit still and observe the world around you, or even observe what's going on in your own mind. Take time to identify what your mind is fixated on rather than drowning it out with noise and stimulation. Allowing troubles to rise from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind in a safe space is far better than having them rudely interrupt your sleep in the middle of the night. Download and offload. Although I'm very structured with my to-do lists and note-keeping, I sometimes feel really overwhelmed when I'm operating at maximum capacity. So I take out a large scrapbook and a bunch of different coloured pens, and I just do a really big brain dump. Just get all my thoughts, anything that's on my mind, get it down onto that piece of paper, and even if it just seems really insignificant, I just get it all down, big stuff and small, and then I can choose to turn some of those things into actions or just know that they're there. And it just helps to cut through the overwhelm and process what's going on in my mind. And it's very cathartic to then scrunch up that piece of paper into a big ball and toss it out. And I know I'll sleep well that night. I know journaling is a buzzword at the moment, but there really is something to it. However, I do prefer to think of it as just a big brain dump. Thoughts and emotions can be expressed in a number of different ways. You might have a dainty little notebook that you do tiny little handwritten notes in, or you might have a huge piece of paper or a big whiteboard where you've got lots of different coloured markers and you just get it all out. Or maybe it's more of a visual thing. You might like to draw and connect and kind of make it more of a visual landscape. Or you may even like to talk it out with a friend. So actually verbalize everything that's going on in your mind. Part 2, the dreaded blue light and things that go buzz in the night. Here's an idea. No smartphones in the bedroom. Too unreasonable? If you can't bear the thought of being parted from your smartphone by having it in another room, then at least turn off the notifications, the non-emergency notifications, so that you can have an undisturbed night's sleep. And even have it turned face down so that if a notification does come through, it doesn't light up the room. And the same goes for TV. There's an abundance of research demonstrating how artificial light, such as from television, smartphones, tablets, computers, immediately before bed can cause disruption to sleep cycles. Sure, you might fall asleep during just one more episode of your latest Netflix binge watch, but if we don't slip all the way asleep into the deeply restorative REM sleep, then you may not wake up feeling fully refreshed. Part 3. Routines, consistency, and nighttime rituals. Reading a book can be a great way to redirect your attention from any persistent worries, assessments, or calculations that your mind is fixated on. Personally, I prefer to read fiction before I go to sleep because for me it's like escapism that helps me to recalibrate my mind. I find that non-fiction can be too stimulating and thought-provoking before I go to sleep. Just make sure that the content of what you are reading is not triggering or inclined to give you nightmares. Now, these are some nighttime routines which seem kind of obvious, but are we actually practicing them? Not drinking alcohol right before you go to sleep. Just like TV, it might fool you into thinking that it's aiding you to fall asleep, but it could also be preventing you from getting to that REM state. Not drinking too much liquid before you go to sleep. I know that not everyone can get through a full night without a toilet stop, but just notice whether that's a habitual behavior or whether it is actually necessary. Tidying up. Whether it's clearing the bench or washing the dishes, putting your shoes away, putting the clothes from your day into the wash basket, what small tasks can you do that signal to your brain that it's time to start shutting down for the night? Preparing for the following day with a future you in mind. So let's say you've got an important meeting first thing in the morning. What things might you be anxious about during the night? Have I set my alarm? What time does the bus go? What am I going to wear to the meeting? And have I packed my notes? Aim to go to bed at a similar time each night for consistency in your sleep-wake cycles. So personally, I feel more refreshed when I've had consistency in my sleep rather than just the duration of how long I've slept for. And this one seems obvious, but go to bed early enough to make sure that you've got enough time to give yourself the amount of sleep that you need before you have to get up in the morning. So many of us need 7 to 9 hours in a night, and just know what that is for you. Monitor the temperature of the bedroom through airflow or blankets and duvets or clothing or lack thereof, and make sure that the room is warm enough to be comfortable but not too warm, so not uncomfortably cold. Try to sleep in a darkened room, so shut the curtains against street lights, moonlight. Try to avoid the light shining from LCD alarm clocks or the standby light on a TV, or you might even like to take the TV out of the bedroom, but hey, I'm not the boss of you. And lastly, if you find yourself still scrolling through social media an hour after you went to bed, then you can probably figure out for yourself why you're having difficulty falling asleep. Part 4, meditation to help fall asleep. Following on from number 1, a meditation practice is even more effective at creating clarity and ease of mind. Simply sitting with yourself in the appropriate setting and observing your thoughts and emotions can be a life-changing practice. Yet, like anything good in this world, that practice in itself can be really, really challenging. At times, just sitting with yourself and observing whatever is arising can be torturous. But if you were to go to the gym and lift heavy weights, you wouldn't expect that to be easy, would you? Over time and with practice, would those weights become lighter? No. but your body would become fitter and your muscles stronger. And that's a really good analogy for meditation. I'm empathetic to my yoga participants who find the last few minutes of class to be really challenging. And sometimes they berate themselves saying, I'm not good at it and my mind was all over the place. And I get that. And I still experience that myself. But here's the thing. I believe there's value in persevering with the practice, no matter how distracted your mind is. Because in the act of observing everything that's going on in your mind, you're actually giving yourself a chance to cut through the overwhelm. Your brain is beginning to process and acknowledge everything. And if you can get through even 5 or 10 minutes of a meditative practice every day, then that can help to make you less reactive and make you more resilient throughout the rest of your day. And over time, you might just find that you're sleeping better. And if you click on the link to my blog post, How to Fall Asleep with a Monkey Mind, at the very bottom you'll find some links to excellent meditations by Tara Brach that are meditative practices that you can do before you go to bed to help you to fall asleep. And there are 3 different durations, 6 minutes, 12 minutes and 18 minutes. So see how you go. And I'd like to add a final word to say that if you are suffering from insomnia or disordered sleep, that I'm not a medical professional, and chronic sleep issues can be very serious. So I would recommend that you do go and seek professional advice from a medical professional. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got any thoughts that you wish to add, please comment below or have a little look at my blog post and comment there. And thank you for listening. Namaste.